let's go Attack on Titan first because,
Okay.
like regular listeners of the show will know, I fell off Attack on Titan, the anime anyway, a long time
Mm.
ago. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, but right now it's a bit too hype for me. When I found the manga towards its end was very convoluted and I didn't enjoy it as much. But I have it on good authority
Hmm.
that you've watched it,
Yes,
and I also have it on good authority that it is like the second most watched anime episode on Crunchyroll,
it's very
from
true.
what I've
Yeah,
heard.
yeah.
So
I think it's also landed some really high ratings on IMDb and other sort of rating platforms as well. Yeah, a really sensational episode. I think what's really interesting is how much it's kind of divided the community. Like that's what I. It's one of the most interesting parts of it, I think, and the discussion is kind of everyone's interpretation of the ending, and of course spoilers by the way if you haven't seen it or read it. But yeah, I think that's what surprised me the most about this. Like after 10 years of this series, it's kind of left divided opinions. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I know that they were planning on doing there was some extra scenes in that weren't in the manga,
Hmm.
or so I heard. So maybe they wanted to leave things open to an Attack on Titan cinematic universe. Who knows?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because there was a lot of discussion about because forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, but Isayama was really involved with this final episode, and those extra scenes, those extra panels, shall we say, uh, I guess really adds a lot more context because it seems like the main discussion is about the interpretation of Eren's motivations and his character journey towards the end part. Like for some people, it feels like a very big switch that he's crying and he is a victim of like this future sight and everything, and he had to do the rumbling. And for some people, they don't really like that adjustment. Where there's the flip side of he was a villain, he committed to this idea, and kind of I don't know.
Yeah. No, I kind of I fall into the second camp as someone who's not watched it. Like
Mm,
I obviously saw the original ending, and
yeah.
I think it's okay in a story like Attack on Titan for it to have gone down the route of the hero lives long enough to become the villain
Yeah.
and is fine with being the villain because the ends justify the means,
Yeah.
at least in his mind. Like he believed in the end that what he was doing was the right thing to
Hmm.
do based on all the injustices of Ymir and stuff in the past. um so but I like, this is just purely speculation.
Hmm.
But I wonder if those changes to the end of the anime was based on not fan feedback but fan reaction, because we know that Eren is a hugely popular character,
Yeah.
and maybe they thought that the response to the ending would be worse, especially for those who only watch the anime, don't read the manga. Maybe the
Hmm.
response would be worse if this character that these people love so much
Yeah.
ends up unredeemed, or ends up not being a victim. Like, because
Yeah.
some people wouldn't be able to look past it. Some people will be like, this ruins my whole experience because I was under the impression that this character was going to be redeemed, because obviously the way it ends is
Yeah.
obviously it's not a happy ending regardless
Mm.
in stuff, like depending on where you're looking at it from. But like, Aaron, the outlook's bleak for Aaron regardless. um
Yeah.
you know so I'm wondering if maybe that's played on it. Maybe because sometimes people like writers will make changes in movies and shows based
Hmm.
on other stuff in order to better appeal to the people who are going to be watching it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. And I think looking back at like timescales and stuff, so the manga drops, it has a very diverse reaction. He goes to New York Anime Con and says sorry, and a lot of people were like, no, we really love the series as a whole. And it kind of, filled his heart up because he apparently had a bit of depression about the reaction to the last chapter. Um, and that's why he's added those extra scenes in the anime just to kind of flesh out the ending hasn't changed as such. It's just that it adds more context to Aaron's motives and explains Aaron better because it's all to do with those. I don't know if you remember, there's a section where Aaron kind of tells Armin everything, like, I realize I can do freedom.
In the
um
mindscape.
yeah, within the mindscape, the paths, whatever it is. And he kind of explains, hatred is this endless cycle that can't be broken. And I'm a slave to freedom. Like, no matter what I have done, the worst outcome was the best outcome, sort of thing. And again, that just kind of, for some people, that makes it feel like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, I think it's okay for things to be left open, like to be left with questions.
Yeah.
I think and I think
In,
especially when you've hyped up a series so much to the point where like every single time people think it's going to come to an end, they're like, well, no, this is part one of the ends. This isn't the full ends. And then it's
yeah.
like, this is part two, and you're like, oh, surely this will be the end. It's like, no, well, no, there's going to be one more.
Final mix.
Yeah,
I really like the ending. I
yeah.
I thought this was amazing. Yeah, I as I've gotten older, I appreciate an ending that doesn't have necessarily a happy ending.
Hmm.
Um, I've also found myself a huge fan of characters that do have those sort of like changes in their personalities or in their traits. Like, if you think about it, Eren goes from this like plucky kid who wants to take out all the Titans to becoming like a villain because he wants freedom, and that's his resolve, and he's saying attack in the mirror and everything else, influencing his father to do terrible things and everything. And then right at the end, when he has the ability of future sight and everything else, he realizes that he's still that crybaby kid. He's just an idiot with power. And I'm like, wow, that's like, what a full circle to kind of, from a kid who couldn't even use a gear to now a crybaby all over again. I kind of like, I kind of dig that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when thing. I'm really pleased that like it's come out as popular as, because regardless of how I feel about Attack on Titan, like,
Mm,
and my enjoyment of it is like such a high quality ending to such a high profile series
yep.
is only good for the community, and it's only good for the industry as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great point, especially for Mappa as well for picking up the series because
Hmm.
originally it got dropped by Studio Whip.
Hmm.
Um, they brought back previous producers and directors. So there's a sequence, I don't know if you remember, when Levi fights Kenny. He's like, Kenny, and he does this whole like that whole sequence through the town. They got the
Hmm.
same guy who did all the storyboards back to do a similar thing again when he shoots a rocket at Aaron's mouth for Mikasa to deliver the final blow. So
Yeah.
it's amazing, like, they've pulled people back from the past and stuff to add to this.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think for me personally, the biggest and best twist for me in
Mm.
Attack on Titan was finding out that Levi and Mikasa are part of a line, part of a bloodline, which is like loyal to the royal family,
Hmm.
and that's why Mikasa. And then it's like brought into question: is this why? Because it's like almost programmed into them. Is
Yeah,
this why Mikasa is like so obsessed with him? Is so
yeah,
obsessed with his well-being? Is not because she has chosen and she wants to be that person for him, but because in her mind that's just how she's programmed. She's programmed to serve his bloodline.
Yeah, that's
I
really
thought
interesting.
that was a really interesting twist because it brought into question every single choice that she had made for him in the
Hmm.
past. Because she's
Yeah.
done some pretty she's always up in everyone's grill to when he's when he's involved.
I
So
think,
yeah,
yeah, as a series as a whole, it's like fantastic. I've loved every twist and turn, every surprise, every foreshadowing. It really is, and that's the other thing that I thought about this week. Like, Isayama started this when he was 19, and he
mm,
already had the beginning and the ending in mind. It's just everything else in the middle. It's just, and to be consistently fantastic throughout, I think it's just astonishing, and I'm really excited to see what his next like project would be. I've heard that he's going to be doing a Levi book, like the early years of Levi, which I think is cool. But
yeah, I would really love to see him be able to separate himself from
mm,
Attack on Titan now because Attack on Titan's got a fair share of like spin-offs already. You've got like a prequel, you've got like there's like a load of stuff that's been done
yeah,
for Attack on Titan, and I would really like to see because the last thing you want is for a talented artist and storyteller to get kind of like shoehorned into only doing that one series for the rest of their lives and
yeah,
stuff. What you want is you want to see them like go out and like do new stuff like entirely. It's like I'm sure
mm,
that everyone would have loved it if Kubo continued to work on like Bleach forever.
yeah.
Um, but it's like you gotta let them go out and like tell different stories. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other, just kind of playing devil's advocate, like Kishimoto did that. Like once Naruto was over, he moved on to Samurai 8. Now, Samurai 8 didn't exactly land the same way, but at least, there's some other piece of medium out there that
yeah.
he had a shot at. And
And two is to the credit of that. Like honestly, I don't think that Samurai 8 was bad. I just think that people had come off of Naruto and Naruto
mm,
Shippuden, and they just wanted more Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
yeah,
It's like they didn't want something else from this author, which is a shame because that means that like he is now kind of even though like Naruto was hugely popular and that's
mm.
incredible, it kind of like creates this awkward situation of like, well, is anyone ever going to be happy with anything I do unless it's this one series? And
Yeah,
I think that's unfair to like authors and like artists and stuff. Like when you kind of get put into this box where you can only do that because the people who support you will only support you if you're doing the thing that they want you to be doing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that he makes like a killer one shot about Minato a couple of years later, and it's like,
Yeah,
my God, your talent is just unbelievable.
yeah.
My
But it's like
God.
but when you like go back over to like Kubo, it's like you he did Burn the Witch,
Hmm.
which might not have gotten as big as Bleach, but it's like and it's obviously not a long running thing. But like
Hmm.
it's definitely popular enough that it's getting a lot more stuff done for it now.
Yeah,
Um, which is honestly great. Like you want to be seeing them be able to expand outwards. Like even if it's in the same world, like
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
like Bird the Witch and like Bleach is supposed to be set in the same Earth.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. Fairy Tale Eden Zero, like.
mhm. It's all the same story with a different skin. So far, Dead Rock is not.
Mm.
Dead Rock to me has been so far different enough that I've not been joking about it just being a different flavor of Rave Master.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, what can I say? I like my Happy Meals. Whew. Anything else? Any other final thoughts on Attack on Titan?
It's been a great run. Like
Mm,
I don't really have like anything super poignant to say about it because I myself haven't watched the last episode. But like I said, its success is good for the community and it's good for the industry.
mm.
and I hope we see. I hope that he's allowed to branch out and explore some different things, some in some different settings.
I totally agree with you. I had a crazy thought the other day, and this I'm gonna cover my mouth as I say this. Is it crazy to say this might be like our generation's Evangelion?
I mean, it's definitely as convoluted. uh, maybe. I guess
I
I really think that that's something that we won't know for sure until a few more years have passed.
yeah
I think it'll be one of those things that will like kind of show after a couple of years have gone by.
yeah
Because I think that's
maybe
the same with like Evangelion. It was like kind of like you don't really, it doesn't become like a cult thing until like years later, does it?
yeah yeah. I just again thinking back to some of those early reactions to the last episode with Shinji and stuff, and yeah, it just feels so similar to me. Yeah, yeah. Crazy thought, but maybe Attack on Titan is our
Pin that to the
generation's.
fridge. Pin that to the fridge on your prediction fridge,
Yeah.
and we'll check back in if we're still doing this in like 10 years time. We'll be like, Zane said once that it was our generation's Evangelion. So let's review. Let's go back and
Yeah.
review.
If you're listening or watching, leave a comment. I'd love to know what other people's reactions, not only to the finale, but do you think this is Attack on Titan is this generation's Evangelion? Like, I think it could be. But let us know your thoughts. Would be interesting.